Hello my frugal friends, welcome to today's video where I am going to show you how I fed my family of 4 for under $80 this week. That's right, that is less than $20 per person. Oh, and if we haven't had the chance to hang out before, my name is Nikki. I'm an Aussie mum and I love sharing all of the tips and tricks that have helped our family budget better, demolish all of our debt, skyrocket our savings, and still have heaps of frugal fun along the way. So if that sounds like something that you might be interested in, I would love it if you would join us here for all the fun. Maybe even think about hitting that little subscribe button down below so you can be notified when my new content comes out. All right, well, I do have a lot to share with you today, but before we get into what I bought at the supermarket and the meals that we pulled together, 2 things real quick. First of all, okay, this week's video and the meal plan was really a bit of an experiment or a challenge just to see if we could feed our family for less. Honestly, we have the luxury to buy more food, to spend more money on food, but I know that a lot of other people out there don't have that. So if you are experiencing food insecurity or you know somebody that is, please reach out to people in your community who can help. If you don't know where to start, askizzy.org.au has been set up to help Aussies in need connect with local services that can help. And number 2, again, this was a bit of an experiment and this meal plan is by no means perfect. Let's just say feeding a family on a limited budget certainly has some challenges. But at the end of each day, we all had full bellies and I guess that's the most important thing. So why don't I turn this around and I will show you what we picked up this week and the meals that we pulled together. This is everything that I picked up for $65.50. I have 3 liters of milk for $3.59, 1 kilo block of cheese for $8, and a sour cream for $2.10. The Greek yogurt at Coles is $3.90. I picked this one up from Aldi for $3.45. So if you're going off the Coles price, $3.90 for that one. Packet of eggs. Now you can get slightly cheaper. This was $3.95. There is a $3.50 just cage eggs. For the wraps, the Mission wraps were actually on special this week. So I picked up a 12 pack of tortillas for $3, making them 25 cents each. Ordinarily, the Coles white wraps, which are the same size, are 8 for $2. So I opted to go for this one because I got 12 wraps, basically at the same unit price. In the vegetable department, I picked up a 1.5 kilo bag of carrots for $1.50. Managed to pick up a 2 kilo bag of white potatoes for $4. I was able to pick up a packet of mushrooms for $2. This wasn't actually on my list, but I'm going to work it into one of these meals this week. For fruit, we have just over a kilo of grapes. They were $3.50 a kilo. I try not to buy over $3.50 a kilo for fruit. The rock melons were $2 a unit, and the bananas were $2 a kilo. So I actually have 2 kilos of bananas. I've picked up a bag of beans and a bag of corn. The corn was $2.90 for the kilo, and the beans were $2 for the 1 kilo bag. We also picked up some frozen spinach. This is $1 for a 250 gram box of frozen spinach. I did pick up a 400 gram pack of ham, that is $5.50, and was very lucky to find marked down chicken. So I actually have 2 of these Maryland packs. They are almost a kilo each and they were $1 $1.44 and $1.38 marked down. So plum jam is $2.80. Peanut butter is $1.80. You can get jam cheaper. You can get the Coles brand strawberry jam for $1.30 or something like that, but we spent a little bit extra and got the one that we liked. The Mexican black beans were 80 cents. Penne pasta, 80 cents for the bag. And I bought some flour. A 2 kilo self-raising bag for $1.80. So to round out this meal plan, I will need a couple of things that I didn't buy because I already have these on hand at home, and I didn't need to go and buy more. So I will need a loaf of bread. I've got a couple frozen in the freezer, so I didn't grab any more of that. Full price, you can pick up the Coles home brand white for $1.30. We'll also need some salsa. I picked this up last week for last week's recipes, and as you can see, it's still quite full. This is $1.50 at Coles. We're silly to go and buy another one. We'll need a coconut cream. I usually always have some of these on hand in the pantry. They're $1 at Coles. And rice. Now I buy rice in bulk, so I always have heaps of rice. But if you wanted to add rice to your shopping list for this as well, the 1 kilo bag of white rice at Coles is $1.40. Breakfast for days 1 to 5 is going to be overnight oats. A really simple way to make the base for your overnight oats is simply oats, milk and yogurt, and then you just add your flavor. So I'm going to get a couple of days worth of oats going here. You can make this in advance, which is great, and have it sit in the fridge for 4 to 5 days and it will be fine. So if you wanted to do a bulk prep at the start of the week and just do a whole bunch and then put it in a big container and then serve out of that each morning, which is what we're going to do here, then go ahead and do that, and that'll see you through Monday to Friday. All right, so just while I'm getting this ready too, our bag of oats has 22 servings in it. I turn that over here. We've got 22 serves in here. So 4 people for 5 days is going to use up most of this. I will be left with just a little bit left over at the end of the week, and I'll be using that in another breakfast recipe. I have a really simple way of doing oats, which is 1/3 cup of oats. That is a serving size. 40 grams is 1/3. So 1/3 oats, 1/3 milk, 1/3 yogurt, and we're going to mix it all together. And so that is it. So I'll meet you guys back here tomorrow morning and we will serve up breakfast. And this is our overnight oats after it has sat in the fridge overnight. As you can see, it's really thick and creamy. We picked up 12 bananas in our grocery shop. So we're going to use half a banana each day for each person on their overnight oats. That's going to leave us with 2 bananas left over at the end that we're going to use in a different breakfast recipe. So every day everybody gets half a banana on top of their oats. Breakfast on the weekend is going to be some banana and oat pancakes. I'm going to do a double batch here today. So we've got 2 bananas left over. We do have a little bit of the oats left over. There should be about 2 serves. We'll just use up the last of what's in our packet here. I'm going to need 2 eggs. I did use 8 in the frittata that we made, so I'll use 2 eggs to do this. I will need some milk as well, which I have left in the fridge, and some flour. Alright, so we're going to mash 2 bananas and then we're going to whisk in 2 eggs. We're going to add 1 cup of milk. I've already put in half cup, so 1 cup of water just to make the milk go a little bit further. So I've already put in half cup. Now we're going to whisk all our wet stuff together. All right, we're going to chuck in the rest of the oats. We do actually have a little over a cup, but I would just chuck in whatever was left. And then we're going to put in 2 cups of flour. All right, so we've got 1 cup of flour in. I've got 1 still to go in. I am just going to whisk all of this together. So if you have some vanilla essence or vanilla extract or something like that, you could add a little bit of that if you wanted to. If you wanted to add some sweetener, could add some maple syrup. We find that the bananas actually make it pretty sweet as it is, so we're going to leave those things out. This is quite thick. I don't mind that. If you wanted to thin it out a little bit, you could add a little bit more milk or water just to make it a better consistency, but it is a bit gluggy because it has the banana and the oats in there. So let's get these to the pan and start cooking them. So that is our big stack of pancakes. So there we've got 4 stacks. Each person has actually ended up with 5 pancakes, which is going to be more than enough for breakfast. And we've actually ended up with a couple of little sparebies as well. Alright, and there we go, served with a little bit of plum jam. These pancakes are actually really filling because they've got the banana and the oats in them. And they're a pretty decent size each. They're probably more like a pikelet because I use the self-raising flour. But that is going to be breakfast for Saturday and Sunday. Average loaf of bread does have 10 serves in it, so 10 sandwiches. We could either use this for 2.5 days, or this could be 5 days for the 2 kids, which is what we are going to do. So we're going to get 10 sandwiches out of this, and that is using the crusts, but you know, that's the way that it goes. And we're going to get 10 sandwiches out of a loaf. That's going to be a week for the 2 kids. For our sandwich fillings, we actually have a few different combinations here that we can pull together with the things that we picked up this week. And of course, if you have other spreads, then those options are open to you as well. But we picked up a new peanut butter and a jam. So you could easily do peanut butter and jam, peanut butter and cheese, ham and cheese, or ham and salsa, ham and cheese and salsa. You could start throwing in some things like some carrot to bulk it out a little bit further as well. But the options here are sort of endless depending on how hungry your kids are, how old they are, and how much you want to put into the sandwich. Snacks for the first 3 days are going to be grapes and some cheese and veggie sticks. So I've divided up the grapes into little bags. It's about 150 grams in each one of those. And I've got 3 carrots, which I'm going to divide up as well into veggie sticks, as well as a little bit of cubed cheese in each one of these containers. Now, you could just do that, but we do have some cucumbers in the garden that need to be used. So I am going to swap out a carrot, and I'll just keep that for next week. And I'm going to use some of the cucumbers that we've grown at home. So it's not a necessary swap, but we have this. It's not going to last until next week, where the carrot will. So I am going to swap those out. And realistically, you can just use any vegetables that are in season and are a good price at the moment. So carrots, I got 1.5 kilos for $1.50. So it makes sense to do vegetable sticks with carrots for snacks this week. Alright, so that is our snacks for the first 3 days. Alright, once all of our grapes are gone, we still have the cantaloupe or rock melon. I usually wait until the soft fruit gets used first, and then I'll go ahead and cut this up and just put it in a big container. Then we can just dish out from there. That'll give us a couple of days of fruit as well, and if there is any leftover yogurt, we can use that to add to our snacks as well. Just a dollop, it's not going to be a lot. Most of the yogurt's going to go into our breakfasts, but there is always a little bit left over, so we can put a little bit of yogurt on top of our rock melon as well. We've primarily been using the extra leftovers from each of the dinners for Shan and I, but if you wanted to serve up a little bit more at dinner time and you wanted to do something specifically for lunches, I have 2 ideas for you, and I'm going to cook them up today using just what's left over with our veggies. So the 2 things that I'm going to do, one is going to be a carrot and cheese bread that is really filling and could be used for a lunch, or it could be used as a snack if you're looking for some extra snacks. And we're going to do some carrot, corn and potato fritters that I really like to have for lunches. Right, to make our carrot and cheese bread, I'm just going to adapt this cheesy zucchini quick bread recipe from the forked spoon. This recipe would ordinarily call for 2 carrots. I have grated one, there's my other one there, but I am going to sub him out for this sad looking zucchini that really needs to be used. This carrot can just go away for next week. The key to this vegetable bread recipe though is to wring the water out of your grated veggies. Scoop it up, wring it out, get as much of the liquid out as you can. Doesn't matter if it's not perfect, but dry it out a little bit is definitely going to help. Got to add, we will need 1 egg for this. I've got 2 left. I used 8 for the frittata, 2 for the pancakes, and I will use 1 today for the bread and 1 for the fritters that we're also going to make today. So I'm going to use half of what's left of our cheese. I'm going to grate it on the smaller side of the grater so that it goes further, and I'll keep the other half for our fritters. Beat the egg into the milk. I have melted a little bit of butter. If you have it, use it. It's good for extra fat. If you don't worry about it. So we're going to combine the wet ingredients into our flour. We're going to add our grated cheese and our veggies. It's all going to happen very quickly. Mix it all together, and then we're going to get it into our loaf pan. The trick with a quick bread like this is you don't want to over mix it, so you just mix it together really quickly. I just bring the wet ingredients in the flour until it's almost mixed, and then chuck in the vegetables and the cheese, and then just very gently mix that together, and then plop it in the pan as quickly as you can, and then you just want to sort of smooth over the top quickly, and that's it. You don't want to fiddle with it too much if you can avoid it. Alright, and that is it. So now we're just going to pop it in the oven at about 180, and you're going to cook it for about an hour. I reserved just a little bit of the cheese I'm just going to sprinkle on top of the bread. After it has cooked for about 30 minutes, I'm going to turn it, I'm going to chuck this cheese on top, and it can brown on top of the bread for the last 30 minutes. There is our veggie bread with cheese. I'm going to let that cool for a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to transfer it across to a wire rack. That is our carrot and cheese bread. It's got a nice little bit of rise to it. Going to grate these vegetables for our vegetable fritters that we're going to make. These are great because they can just go in the fridge or the freezer. You can use them for breakfast, snacks, lunches, or even as a dinner. And they're great for using up little bits and pieces. So I'm going to get grating and we'll get cooking in a minute. I've just combined our grated veggies and a cup of corn. I'm going to add 1 cup of self-raising flour, half a cup of milk, and an egg. And we will combine all of those together. Then we're just going to fry them off in the fry pan like pancakes. Right, so when they are sealed on the first side, I like to flip them over and squash them out. Then we're going to brown them on the second side. We'll flip them back over to the first side and just finish browning them on that side as well. But we'll let these cool on the cooling rack. If you have some salsa and sour cream left over, that'll go really nicely with that. First up, I am going to prep the chicken that we bought this week. Now, we were very lucky and were able to pick up some Marylands that were marked down, and we have just under 2 kilos of chicken here. The other option is just to get a whole chook. Aim for one that is about 2 kilos. You're probably going to be looking at around the $7 mark to do that, but that's going to give you the same thing. We're going to cook this off. We're going to poach it, shred the chicken, make some stock, and we want some of the chicken, something with bones in it, to be able to do that the best way. So if you can't get your hands on some marked down chicken, go for a whole chicken to do what we're about to do here. Alright, our chicken has finished cooking, so I'm going to take this out of the pot. I'm going to keep all of this liquid because we are going to use that as a stock, as a base for one of the recipes this week. And I'm going to pull all the chicken meat off the bones and we'll see how much meat we actually ended up with. So I've just strained that as I've tipped it out just to catch any bits and pieces. And so we've ended up with just under 800 grams of cooked chicken. Start by serving up about 1/3 of our rice here for dinner tonight. I am going to reserve some of this and make leftovers for lunch tomorrow for Shan and myself, and I'm going to keep some of it for the burritos that I'm going to make tomorrow. So I'm just going around the bowls, filling up with a little bit of everything on top of the rice until we've got all of our bits and pieces in the bowl to make our Mexican rice bowl. Alright, so I'm now just finishing each one of these off with a dollop of sour cream and some salsa. Alright, and there we go. Only thing now to do is mix it all together and enjoy. Dinner number 2 is going to be some beans and rice burritos or enchiladas, however you want to do this. We are going to cook them, so I guess they are really an enchilada, but you could do them as a cold wrap if you wanted to. Works in a couple of different ways. This is the leftover stuff from last night's Mexican rice bowls. So I'm going to use about half of the rice that we've probably got here, maybe a little bit more. The leftover black beans, leftover grated carrot, grated cheese, And to top it off, we are going to use sour cream and salsa. I forgot the corn, which was in the freezer. I'm just going to use this frozen and I'm just going to mix it straight in because we are going to cook it. And the other thing that I realized that we have too, that I was going to throw in here as well, is some of this chopped spinach. I'm not going to use all of this in the dinner that I'm going to make with this one. So I'm going to grab just a little bit out of here and throw it through the rice as well. So that is our filling just all mixed together. If you want to amp the flavor up in this a little bit, then if you have like the Mexican chili powder or some sort of burrito flavoring sachet, go ahead and chuck that in. The other thing that works really well is this new one from Master Foods, which is bacon flavored seasoning. Really, really nice. And of course, if you have extra protein that you want to chuck in there, maybe some bacon or some chicken, go ahead and do that as well. We're going to do this as a vegetarian meal this week, just to cut back on costs a little bit. So a little bit of filling in each one, a little bit of cheese over the top. We're going to roll and put in our pan. There is our 12. You can bake these in the oven, which is what I'm going to do. You could put them in a sandwich press and toast them. You could just have them cold if you wanted to. Totally up to you, but we are going to bake these. All right, and there we are, all plated up. So tonight, everybody gets 2. That's going to be enough for us, but it also leaves 2 leftover servings that Shannon and I can have for lunch tomorrow, which is often what we do. We just make sure that there's some leftovers, and that's what we have for lunch. If you wanted to, you could put a side salad with this, but this is actually going to be very filling. So I'm going to cut this open and just show you guys what it looks like on the inside. All right, and so there we go, chocked full of veggies and rice. Really yummy, pretty quick and easy to pull together, particularly if you make it after rice bowl night, because you've got everything ready to go. Or you could do vice versa. You could do these first and you could do a rice bowl the next night. These 2 meals do work really well hand in hand. You can use the same ingredients, cook once, and then the second night you just go to quickly pull it all together. So that is dinner tonight. We are going to make a potato, spinach and ham frittata. This is really quick and easy to pull together. I'm going to use about half of the potatoes. I will use about half of the spinach. I'm going to use the entire 100-gram pack here of ham. I need a little bit of milk, a little bit of cheese, quite a few of the eggs. This is the 9x13 pan, so it's the big pan. This will yield 6 serves for us, so we will be able to put 2 serves aside for Shannon and I to have for lunch tomorrow. You could serve this with a salad if you had some salad things. I'm probably going to just chuck some veggies on the side of this as well, just to make it go a little bit further. There is our potato and spinach and ham and cheese frittata straight out of the oven. It always takes longer than what I think that it's going to need. So I think this took around 50 minutes before it was actually cooked. I do like to cut into it and see if the egg is cooked, and if it's not, like it was today, I'll pop it back in until it is cooked all the way through. So this has been divided up into 6 very large serves. So we will be able to have serves for dinner tonight and 2 left over for lunch tomorrow. So tonight it's raining here, so it is the perfect night to do a chicken pot pie with drop dumplings on top. So I'm going to use half of the chicken that's left. So that is going to be 1/3 of the entire chicken that we roasted up, cooked up the first day. So I'm going to use half of what's left, and I'll have half for another meal. I'm going to use the chicken stock that we made that I've reserved, and you can see there's a nice little bit of fat on top of that now that it's cooled. So that's the water that we cooked the chicken Marylands in. I'm going to use some of the leftover rice. This is already cooked, so this is going to go in and help thicken the sauce. Veggies that we picked up this week. So we did manage to pick up some mushrooms that were marked down, and pretty much the only reason why I picked them up was because I knew that I could use them in this recipe. You don't need them, but you know what? It's a good way to use them if you see them. Other veggies that we picked up this week were, of course, the carrots and the potatoes. So I'll be using probably half of what is left, about 500 grams. I've already used half of them in one recipe. A carrot, some of the corn kernels, and some of the beans that we haven't used yet. So that will be the chicken pot pie and the sauce. And to make the dumplings are really easy. Flour, a little bit of milk, and a little bit of butter if you have it. Now, if you don't have it, you can just add, you know, massive big tub of margarine to your shopping list for under $2, and you'll have margarine for days. We don't really need very much of it in this recipe, so I didn't add it into this week's shopping list. And I mean, we've got a ton of butter. I have tried making it and leaving it out, and you can do that too. It'll still work. They're just not quite as nice, to be honest. So if you have it, use it. And of course, seasoning it, you can season it too if you want. You could add a little bit of cheese. That would be nice as well. Some herbs, whatever you want to do. We'll keep it pretty simple here today. Chicken pot pie, let's make it happen. Alright, to make our dumplings, we just need 1 cup of the self-raising flour, half a cup of milk, and a tablespoon of butter or margarine. So I'm going to get that into the bowl, mix those together, and we're going to drop that on top of our chicken stew. So that's our pie after its 12-minute cook. And we're just going to mash it a little bit. Thicken it up, and then we're going to ladle it into our 2 pans. We're going to pop these in the oven now until the dumplings are cooked and nice and golden brown on top. Right, so we've actually ended up with 6 serves here, and we still have some leftovers here as well. So this has made 8 good serves. Tonight's dinner is going to be a really quick and easy chicken satay. So we are going to use the last of the chicken. We've got 1/3 of our original chicken left there. Satay sauce itself is really easy. It's basically just peanut butter and coconut cream. Now, if you happen to have some curry powder, whether it's just a traditional curry powder or if it's a Thai green or a Thai red curry powder, any of those as an addition works really well, but it isn't 100% necessary. So if you've just got peanut butter and coconut cream, this works just as well. I'm just going to mix those together to make the satay sauce. A little bit of rice to serve it on, and some veggies. So we're going to throw in some carrot, some green beans, and the last of the spinach. There is about 1/4 of this packet left, so we're going to use it up and pop it into this sauce as well. But that is going to be dinner tonight, nice and easy. Alright, so I didn't have a chance to actually video making the sauce, but basically I just popped some of the peanut butter and the tin of the coconut cream into the fry pan after I'd cooked off the veggies, just whisked it together, popped in the chicken, which was pre-cooked, chucked in the veggies, which I had pan fried off, and then I have split this up between 6 bowls, so we have 6 serves out of our 1.5 cups of dry rice, the leftover chicken, and the veggies. So this is enough for the 4 of us, plus we have 2 leftovers as well. So that's another dinner pulled together from the things that we have this week. We're going to go and enjoy this chicken satay and rice. And that's another one in the bag. So we are going to make sneaky veggie mac and cheese. So we will need the whole packet of pasta for this. We're going to need veggies. The mac and cheese sauce is sort of pinched from a vegan mac and cheese recipe that I've seen. I've seen it done 2 ways. One is with carrots and potatoes, and that makes the creamy, cheesy yellow sauce. Or you could use sweet potatoes. Now we don't have sweet potatoes this week, but that is an option if you don't have, say, carrots and white potatoes. You could use a sweet potato. But this is not vegan, so I am going to add some cheese. Realistically, we're only going to need 1 carrot. So as you can see, I've still got a couple of carrots left in my bag, and we're going to need probably just 1 or 2 of these potatoes. They're not huge, so we'll say 2. And I've still got some potatoes left. So that is going to make our sauce. And then we're going to just chuck some veggies in there. So I forgot to put the spinach in the satay chicken that I made last night. So I'm going to chuck it in tonight's dinner, and I'm going to use up the rest of that. And we still have corn and beans left. So we have a little bit of ham left over that we've been using for lunches, so I'm going to put some ham through it. So we're going to just chop up our carrot and 2 potatoes. I'm going to get those in a pot and start them boiling. Our potato and carrots are boiling over here, so I'm going to turn them down and let them do their thing. Our pasta water is almost ready to go. Once that is a rolling boil, I'm going to throw in our pasta. I'm going to give that 8 minutes or so, and then I will throw in the frozen beans and corn when it's got about 2 minutes left to go. These veggies are cooked through, fork tender. Drained about half of the liquid. Used my stick blender to blend all of this together. And now we're going to just start mixing in half a cup of milk, half a cup of our pasta water to make the sauce. Now is also a good time to add any seasonings or cheesy goodness to your sneaky veggie sauce. Otherwise, if you don't have it, don't worry, because we are going to put some grated cheese on top of this when it goes into the oven. So we just sort of want a cheese sauce consistency here at this point. This is pretty good. So that's all mixed together. We're now going to get this into the 9 by 13 inch baking pan. We're going to top it off with the last of the ham and some of the grated cheese. All right, so this pan is probably overfull, but let's get this into the oven until the cheese on top is brown. It's probably going to take 20 to 30 minutes. We'll see. All right, so straight out of the oven, looks pretty amazing. This is definitely going to give us 6 big serves, and there we go. If this is just a little bit bland, then something like a sweet chili sauce, give it a nice little bit of pop, just to give it a little bit of extra something if it's just a little bit too plain for your tastes. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, if you could please give it a thumbs up, that would be fantastic. And I do hope that you will consider subscribing and joining us for some more fun in the future. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I do hope to see you in my next video. Until then, take care. Bye.